Hi there. What has the Eiffel Tower to do with the AI revolution we see at the moment? Well, I watched a movie recently about the Eiffel Tower. It's from 2021 or something like that, about the building of it. And that era, around 1900 in France, was a really, really optimistic era because you had coal engines suddenly being able to do everything, steam engines, and you had steel mills making steel that was super strong instead of cast iron. And you could do a lot of things. For instance, building a tower of 300 meters high, uh, and they did. And everybody was in a very optimistic mood. If you read about that period, and they were building railroads and bridges, and but they also were building houses for the people that had to work, better accommodations. And if you go around Paris, you see the huge stations, the Gare du Nord and Gare du Sud and the rest. They are beautiful, massive buildings, basically advertisements for the coal-powered steam era that was happening at the time. And of course, they were easy to build because you had trains and steam engines, so you could just drag the stone from wherever and bring it to Paris and build those stations. Now we have an AI revolution, which is a race to, let's say, the dominating AI engine, like XAI at the moment with Grok claims to be the number one used AI engine for generating video and getting answers and stuff like that. Uh, but at the same time, we have a lot of news items about jobs being lost and which jobs are going to be replaced, and robots will take your jobs, etc., etc. And there's really no answer to that. And that's very strange because what does it mean to have a technological breakthrough and advance and not have a benefit of it to society? Because that's basically what it means. What the media are telling us is that we have AI and you can use it and it's a lot of fun, but it will cost jobs and make people jobless and replace people and basically make lawyers obsolete and doctors obsolete and etc. What are all these people are going to do? Nobody talks about that. Nobody has an answer to that. I mean, the weakest answer you get is people, economists usually, saying that well, there will be other jobs for these people to do. And there's two answers to that because I thought about this problem a long time ago, like more than 20 years now, because I was an AI researcher and I was trying to figure out what climate change was and what was the way to be positive about the future because I was getting extremely depressed by climate change around 2001. And my conclusion was that if you have renewable energy and you have robots and AI, then you can make everything automatically, uh, which is basically almost where we are right now. You can do everything automatically, you can maintain everything automatically, and you can use renewables to do it. So there will be zero cost. But then you have a conundrum that you have to answer. A question is: does it mean that everybody loses their job? Nobody has any money, and everybody will be starving and in the street? Is that the option? Which is seems to be the option that, let's say, the economy is now uh, letting evolve. And so everybody out of a job because robots do everything and they don't have any money, so they can't afford a home. They live in the street. They can't buy any food, so they starve to death. They have no money for healthcare. End of humanity. That's one option. And the other option is everything will be free. Everything will be free of cost. And you can imagine that there is a universal basic income, and then you have to be very specific about that because the universal basic income has to be based on renewable energy because that can be owned by the people itself and that can be maintained with the robots and stuff like that, while fossil energy has to be replaced or has to be found again somewhere. And there's always a reason for war. That's why US is around Iran at the moment and has, let's say, taken the president of Venezuela, etc. It's all fossil, 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 fossil. And when I thought about it, so that's like basically what I call the robo-economic conundrum: is will you be poor and jobless out in the street, dying, or will everything be free with a universal basic income based on renewables? That's the question we are facing. And of course, everybody dying in the street is the negative outcome. So that's what you're being presented with right now by the media. So we really don't know what's going to happen. Robots going to take your job. You have to find a new job. This is the economy. You have to struggle. And the other one is that there's a clear signal that somebody says, no, we're going to be powering everything with renewables, and those renewable energies will have to be allocated to the use that you want. So we give you an energy credit, which we call a dual currency. And this idea I had before Elon Musk, because I have the domain dualcurrency.org. And then you can allocate those joules as a basic income you get to the services and AI and robots that you want to exist and consume. And this way, humans retain control over society, and it is going to be a brilliant era that we are entering. Let's say that's the age of abundance that Elon Musk is talking about, and some other, let's say, echo parrots of him. But like this whole ubiquitous abundance, this new goal of Tesla is about creating a energy currency, universal income for people, and then making the stuff that they want so that they can choose and they can still determine, let's say, see what they find the best quality and stuff like that. But that's not where we're going right now. And when I was thinking about this in 2001, I concluded that the only reason why we are not going that direction right now is the banks. Because the banks live off the cash flow of repeated consumption of fossil fuels. Because if you do that, you burn the fossil fuels, then you have to buy new fossil fuels, and then you have, of course, to earn money, and that's why you are working in a job, etc., etc. That's the whole economy that we... And banks don't want the fossil... So you have to say the fossil credit banks don't want renewables to dominate, because then you can own the renewables, so the solar panels in your city and stuff like that, and you don't need the Federal Reserve Bank to make your dual currency, your energy currency, to power your robots and AI and machines to do whatever you need. And of course, you can keep the jobs that you like. You can just keep baking bread, and if you think that's a nice profession to have, honorable, then there's nothing forcing you out of that. While in the current fossil-based economy, of course, jobs are removed because it's more cost-effective for the companies as they are battling over the currency to get the fossil energy, which is scarce, and the real renewable energy is not scarce. Anyway, this goes every which way direction. But the main question I think is very important to ask publicly and loudly is, why isn't AI a good thing for society? Why isn't it made exactly clear why AI and robots are going to bring humanity to a new era of prosperity? I mean, Elon Musk talks about it, but he doesn't explain it. And the explanation is simple. You have to have renewable energy. You don't need banks, so you don't have to worry about credit and debt anymore. That's just in the past. That's old technology. You have to have the energy to make the robots and the AI run, to make the stuff that you need. Those energy sources you can own, and then you have to have the robots, and you have to distribute the energy through a currency, which could be dual currency or whatever currency. It could be the dollar, actually, if you really want to. No problem with that. But then you get a positive outcome. And as long as you allow the current fossil energy economy to outline to you what the future is, it will be fossil energy. And it will be scarcity, and it will be debt and banks. I mean, every time you see Björn Lundberg, it's a piece of shit, talk, then he'll explain that it's too expensive to go to renewables. That's bank talk. It's not too expensive. It just means banks don't want you to borrow the money. They want you to be suffering from too little money. And actually, everybody at the moment, more or less in the world, is suffering from too little money. It's a torture session the banks are hoisting upon humanity.